know, we had a commemoration yesterday for Yom HaShoah, and I don't know what your organization synagogues are doing. They seem to be all weekend, including to the weekend. There's some more commemorations of Yom HaShoah. So I thought, well, that's one of the reasons I thought we'd start with Hatikva. I saw somebody had recommended,
Hey.
Was it you? Well,
Mhm.
somebody else recommended the program from Israel.
No,
And
to go over and to learn the song, to get better
right,
at
but
it.
somebody recommended, and they did Hatikva at the end, and that reminded me that we're going to do Hatikva again. And not only did we celebrate Yom HaShoah, but there are two more things that are coming up in the next weeks. We're going to have Yom HaZikaron, which comes the day before. Anybody?
Yom HaTzmaut.
Thank you, Yom HaAtzmaut, exactly. So that's another time that we should use Hatikva. So I thought that would be particularly good for us to do that again. I also thought, since it's been a long time, and also just to reinforce and just show you how much you've learned, and to make you even more comfortable with some of the prayers that we do on a regular basis, we would go again over some of the prayers that we already have done as part of the service on Saturday morning. I'm still not sure what we're going to do for the next several weeks. If anybody, I appreciate any requests. Please let me know if there's anything that you particularly want to do. We're going to have a meeting this afternoon with the chair of the program, and we'll speak with her and some of the other teachers and see what they're doing as well. But if there's anything in particular, like someone like Ellen requested Hatikva, if there's anything else, any part of the service or any other Hebrew that you would like to do, please let me know. So yes, Cindy.
Is there any talk about a next class after intermediate, or are we done?
I have not heard of anything. I will ask at the meeting this afternoon. This is a particularly good moment to be speaking about this, because I will ask, because I know there are some people that have asked. People have asked specifically about Haftorah or Torah, which seems to be one of the next steps after this. It's not something I'm comfortable doing, but I mean, I could do the Hebrew, but I can't do the trope notes. So I don't know whether that will be what will be next. Honestly, and I don't mean to be mean about it, when I listened to one of the other classes from last year, this level, the people were not really ready for anything much more than this. So I don't know what the next level would be.
Just
you know, so
yeah,
just practicing, that's part of it, because I know that they've been very hesitant for whatever reason to keep people in the same level, and because for whatever reason. So and I don't know if I think that honestly, not to be negative to anybody, I think that a lot of the people would appreciate reading more and having somebody else there. I will suggest it and see what the story is and talk about it. We'll see, and I'll get back to you for sure about what any response. And please, if there's any questions or requests, please ask. I had also asked about the bat mitzvah program. The bat mitzvah class is going to be doing something, I'm not sure what, at the convention. But anyway, all right, so we're going to start with Hatikva. It is on, I printed out my paper, in Sim Shalom, it's on page 827, and the Slim Shalom, it's 395, and Love Shalem, it's 448. I give everybody a chance to find the place. Okay, let me see. I just want to do one thing. I did get some people couldn't be here today. Everybody there? Joy.
I just wanted to say, I had a hard time finding the link for today. If there's a possibility, because I clicked on the mail you sent us the other day with all the pages, and when I got to that, it just sent me to Zoom regular, and then I had to find
The one you clicked on, the thing that was on the bottom of that page?
and it brought, yeah, I clicked on that, and then it just brought me to a place where it said I had to enter the passcode, and I had to enter
Oh,
the meeting
really?
number.
Because that's what I click on. It tells me that I have to click it again, and it takes me to another place. So I will check and see, because that's what I use.
Oh, maybe, so I went back to old mail, and I found, it someplace else
It
hidden,
should
but
be the same. It should be
thing?
the
Okay.
same thing. I only copy and paste from a previous thing, so it should be the same one it's always been. But I'll check and see.
I
'Cause
used the one from the
I
email. It was fine. It was the double
yes.
at
So
the
I don't know.
bottom, join Zoom.
All right, maybe I
Yeah.
had to click twice. I didn't realize that. I'll try next time. I'll
Mine
try.
for some reason, and other people haven't said that, it doesn't take me directly there. It says you have to click it again
To
or go
launch it.
someplace else.
Yeah, you have to
I click
launch
it
it.
again, and then it takes me right to the place. So that's what I use. Yes, okay, so we're on Hatikva. If you're in the red book, it has it's on the second, and the Lev Shalem, it's the second song on the page, or poem on the page. So I'm gonna read it first. Anybody else, and then I'm gonna ask for volunteers. You can either sing or read, whichever you're more comfortable with. Because in fact, obviously, it's almost always when you hear it, it will be sung, but which we're also practicing reading, so it doesn't matter. Hatikva. Kol od belevav penima nefesh Yehudi homia ulfaat. This I had the problem with last time. Te mizrach kadima ayin litzion Sophia. Od lo avda tikvatenu hatikva bat shnot alpayim lehiyot am hofshi ve'artzenu eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim. Kol belevav penima nefesh Yehudi homia ufa'atai mizrach kadima ayin litzion Sophia od lo avda tikvatenu hatikva Botashnat Shotapayim. I lost the tune. Liotam Chofshi Ve'atzenu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim. Okay. Please come on to you. Don't have to read the whole thing. You can just read part. And you should realize that I'm kind, because when I was looking at somebody else's class, she called on people without volunteers. So I'm waiting for volunteers, because I don't want to force anybody into anything. So Arlene first, and then Cindy.
Ka-od.
Cole. So that's when you have to guess. Okay.
Kol-od baleva penima nefesh Yehudi homia ufa'ate mitzra kadima ayin litzion Sophia.
Good, perfect. Okay, Cindy. Second paragraph.
Od lo avda tikvatenu hatikva bat shanot al payim or al payim
Good.
liot am chafshi
Oh, she, yeah.
be'ar Tsenu,
Good.
Eretz, Yon,
No, Eretz, what comes after Eretz?
Sion,
Good.
Sion, Jerusalem.
Perfect. Fabulous.
I have a question. It's not
Sure.
coming up now, but let me wait until there is a, it has to do with, so when you have a, like, say, a double dot, the snake eyes, A, okay?
Yes.
And that's
Yeah.
not good. No, say you have an the short line,
Yeah.
okay? Followed by a yud is an I. There's not an example here, but it's actually an example on something I was
Yes,
practicing.
I. It's I.
Right, but if there's a vowel under the yud, does the yud still change that vowel?
I'm trying to think. I don't think so, but we'll
Okay,
have to,
that's
when we
the-
find
okay.
it, when we find it, we'll see.
Okay, all right.
Okay, when we
thank
look
you.
at it, yeah.
Thank you.
Just for some of these words, Zion, that's important. That's Zion in Hebrew, Zion. And Ba'artzenu is our land. Okay, remember we talked about with the Ein Kelohenu, the new ending is first person plural. Okay, I think it's important to know what we're saying a little bit. Okay, good, terrific. Anybody else want to read it just for practice, or you just feel like you want to do it?
I can do it.
Good, Faye.
Okay. Kol od balevav penima nefesh Yehudi homia ulfa ate mizrach kadima ayin litzion Sophia.
Good.
Should I continue?
Up to it. Does anybody else? Ellen, you want to read? Or Eileen?
Do you want me to do the second paragraph?
Sure.
Okay.
I wanted us to feel really comfortable with this, so I don't care. We can read it several times. It doesn't hurt for us to read it multiple times so that we really feel comfortable with it. So yes, please.
Od lo avda tikvatenu.
Good.
A tikva bat shnot al
Yes,
payim.
good.
Lahot
The yot. We talked about we're just talking about the yod. The yot.
okay, say lihot.
The yot.
Say that again.
Li yot.
Oh,
Lihiyot.
lihot. Have she
Hofshi. Remember, it's a
Hofshi.
long. If you're
Kafshi Be'artenu, Eretz Zion, Jerusalem.
good, perfect. I just want to say that you need to realize that how well you're reading the fact that I am correcting you, because if you're not reading well, it's hard to correct everything. But because it's so smooth and because you really know it, you need to be perfect and know what it really is supposed to sound like. So that's the only reason I'm correcting. So please,
No, I don't feel offended at all. I appreciate
Okay,
it.
that's all. I just don't want people to feel bad about it because you're reading well, and why shouldn't you read perfectly? Okay, somebody
forgot-
else. Yes, Arlene, you have a question, and then Joyce.
The long line with the dot, that's I
Oh,
forgot that.
sound.
Oh,
It's an O sound. Oh, okay.
yeah, colon, we just had it now. In,
Right, and then you had another one,
Hof.
Hofshi.
yeah,
Hofshi. Yes, exactly. Cole is a very common one. You see that a lot. It means all. So you see that a lot. But with the long line, it's an O sound. Yeah. And some people don't. I'm telling you, some people do not read it properly. If you listen to people in shul, you will hear many people that say and it's not the worst thing in the world. But if we're learning, we might as well learn the way it's supposed to be. Yes, Joyce, you have a question, or you want to volunteer to read?
I would volunteer to read, and I do want you to correct me.
Okay,
Well, before you go further, I have a question, Judy.
sure. Yes.
Like in the same shalom, the call,
Yeah.
it has a straight line and a dot underneath.
Same
So
thing.
that's
It's the same thing. It's they want to designate it so you know that it's not just the straight line vowel. So in that book, they decided to do it a line and a dot, and for whatever reason in Lev Shalem, they decided to make the line in the middle longer. It's just it's not really what any vowel looks like. It's just to designate it so you can read it properly. So they
And
pick whatever they
also,
wanted.
you know, in case the line before the last, so the under the chet is again we pronounce it chofshi. Is that what it is?
Yeah,
That was okay.
that's the two places in this piece that has the O sound, that vowel. Yeah, those are the two places. Yes, Joyce,
Thanks.
no problem.
Paul, Od, Balevav, Panima,
Good.
Nefesh, Yehudi, Homia.
Good.
Ufa Ete, Mitzrach,
Mizrach. It's a Z
Mizrach.
sound. Good.
Mizrach, Kadima.
Good.
Ayin, Litzion, Sophia. Od, Lo, Avda, Tikvatenu,
Good.
Hatikva Bat, Shanot, Alpayim, Alpayim,
Good. Apayim.
Alpayim,
Good.
Lihiot, Lihoot,
You were right the first time.
Oh.
Lehiot.
Lihiot, Am, Chofshi,
Good.
Ba'arsenu,
Good.
Eretz, Zion, Verushalayim.
Perfect.
That
Great.
was wonderful. That was great. But I wanted to ask you also, did you
Sure.
tell us what Haktikva means? Haktikva. What does it
Oh.
mean?
And hope.
Oh,
Oh, okay, I forgot.
the
Thank
hope. And
thank
the hope is and hatik. It's hatik, but it's the hope. The hope is that all this stuff happens. Okay. And you see the new ending again. There was a tikvatenu as well as artenu. It's our hope. Okay.
I hope I sent her. I thought she did a great job. I thought that was so good.
Everybody, I'm telling you, not just you did a great job, Joyce, and that's why. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze.
It's so hard if you've been away from 3 weeks now.
That's why I have to go to shul in between.
I do.
Bless you.
It's not going to come out. I feel like I have disease. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Good. But all of you, everybody that read should feel proud that you read almost perfectly. And I'm telling you, if you ask 99% of your congregation, if you go to shul and to read it, they would have a hard time. So you should be very proud and doing very well. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You make me proud. Okay. Now we are going to go back to Aleinu, because this is another prayer that we do a lot. And it's 510 in Sim Shalom, 183 in Slim Shalom, and 205 in Lev Shalem. And if you need me to say it again, I will. This obviously also, just as a point of information, is in a lot of places in every siddur, because it is the end of every service that we do. Whether it be weekday, Chag, or Shabbat, it's at the end of towards the end, not the very last, used to be the last, but towards the end of the service, everywhere.
A question, Judy.
Sure.
At
Yeah.
your synagogue, at my synagogue, for Elena, we stopped at Ein Od, and then The rest of it is silent until we get to cockatoo. Is that,
Most, most synagogues do that, yeah.
because I've been trying to
And,
read the stuff in between.
Yeah, well, that's a
On my
good
own,
thing.
on my own.
That's a good thing. First of all, this isn't a service class. This is a Hebrew class. So we use the prayers and the songs and things that we use on a regular basis just because it's nice to know because you're going to be doing it anyway. So it's good. But kol kavod, if you can, any Hebrew that you're reading is a good thing. And sometimes, like in USY, they'll read the whole thing. But usually most shuls do not read out loud the whole thing. And some don't even go as far as you do. On weekdays, we don't read that. We read all of that in Hebrew. Okay, so out loud, I should say. Okay, normally we rise. We're not rising because we're practicing. We're not praying. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol latet gedula leoter breshit shalo asanu hagoye ha'aratzot velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama. Shalo sam halkenu kahem, v'goralenu kachol hamonam, v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamalachim hagadosh baruch hu. And I'm going to stop it there, and then we can read more later. Anybody want to volunteer? Ellen, as much as you want.
Hakol, Latte Gedula, Leitzer Bereshit, Shalo Asanu Kugoye Ha'aratzot, Velo Samainu Kamishpachot,
Stop after below.
Samanu,
Samanu, good.
Kamoshpachot Ha'adama, Shalo Sam Kalkenu Kahem, Vigoralenu Kochel Hamonam, Bechol Hamonam,
Good.
V'anachnu Korim Umishtachavim Umodim, Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim Hakadosh Baruch Hu.
Fabulous. Terrific. Okay, any other volunteers?
I have a question. I have a question. When they
First, a
bend,
question from Joyce, yes.
when they bend,
Yes.
vanachnu. Now,
Uh-huh.
is there a special way, like, do you bend your knees or do you bend over? I'm not sure how people are supposed to bend over there.
Well, it says even if you look at the English, well, in the English it says bow. We bend and bow. So mostly, some people do it on Vanachnu. I do it on Korim. You bend first and then you bow. We bend and bow because it's Anachnu Korim Umishtachavim. We bend and bow. Okay.
So what's the meaning? What's the meaning that some areas of our prayers that we do that? I mean, what's the specific?
Some you just
Yeah,
bend.
I would
Some
like to
you
know
just
too.
bow. You don't bend. Yes. Some you
Yes,
just
but-
bow.
and-
But how
But
come,
you do
how come we
Baruch
do
Atah
that,
Adonai.
Judy?
If you do Baruch Atah Adonai, you don't bend.
Right.
You
So
just
why in
bow.
some places we do and some we don't?
Well,
What's
because
the-
this isn't the same words. It's not Baruch Atah Adonai. It's
Right, but-
Anachnu Korim Mishtachavim.
So
So
what's
this
the-
is
So
really
how come
different.
you still do it? Like, what's
why
the
are we
reason
doing it in this
behind
prayer? What's the
bending?
meaning?
1
Why
minute,
are we-
2 people are talking. I'm lost. What? Start it again. 1.
What's the meaning behind the bend, doing this physically?
It's this one is easier to understand than the other one. This one is it's exactly what it tells you to do. It says we bend and acknowledge. That's a way of bend and bow to God. So that this is different. Baruch Atah Adonai is different. You don't do it all the time. We just have to know when you do it. There's no guarantee. It's just a way. What we do is it's the choreography of prayer.
Well, in case of Baruch Hu, we bow, isn't
Baruch Hu,
it?
we bow. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. And when we start the Amida, when you do Baruch Atah Adonai, you do that also. Yes, Arlene.
What's the difference between the two hakols? You have it in the first line, Aleinu lishabea ladon hakol, and then
Yes.
you have they decide to do it the other way, on the third line down.
Third line down.
Kachol,
Shelo asana kagoyeha. But where is it?
at the last word, Kachol Hamon. Is there a different Hakol and then in the middle of the word it's cook
Oh. I okay.
just variety?
I
It's
don't
more
know.
like grammar would be.
I would think it would be grammar, to be honest, because it's the same
Uh,
letters, it's just different vowels.
Yeah.
So I think it's just,
Because-
I think it's grammar. I can't be,
Yeah,
I
because
can't
the
swear,
call,
can't swear
I
to
would
it one
use-
way or the other.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'll start the
Yeah.
Elena if
Okay.
okay,
okay, Arlene.
I'll try it.
Yeah. Good.
Elena, and you could correct me, of course.
Yeah.
Elena lishabea la adon hakol litate gedula li yotzer bereshit elo
No.
san
Shelo, it should be
no,
Shelo,
Shelo.
no? Good.
Shelo asanu go ye ha ratzot velo samanu mi mish putot
Chot.
hot.
See the difference?
Yep.
You see it,
Hot, yep.
Arlene?
Yes.
Good.
Ha adama shelo sam hel kenu kahem the go ra lenu ka kol ham
Kachol. If you want to, since you're doing it perfectly, right?
Okay, that's it. Kachol
Good.
nam
Good.
the na nu korim
Good.
umishtahavim umodim lifnei melech malahe ham lahim hakadosh baruch hu.
Fabulous.
Oh, thank you. I think I'm
Right?
gonna.
Do you feel good?
I feel good. I just need, I think, new different glasses.
Oh, okay. But no, but you guys,
No, it feels
yeah,
good. Yeah.
Cindy's ready here. Yeah.
It's
I
but still am hesitating,
yes, you're not, you can read, but you're not totally comfortable. Absolutely. And that's why you have to read it and read it, because you can read it. You know what the letters are, you know what the vowels are. Well,
Okay.
Really fabulous. Anybody else?
Thank you.
We do this prayer a lot, so I want you to be comfortable with it. And when you sing it, it's a little easier, I think. Okay, anybody else? I'm not going to force anybody. Cindy,
I too am rusty.
good.
Elenu lishabeach la'adon hakol latate gedula liyotzer shalo asanu kigo ye ha'ar no, well, I want to say something else. Ha'ara sot.
Good, exactly. Again, it's a form of eretz and aretz. We're talking about the land, okay?
Velo
Good.
shamanu kamish pitot. No,
The chot. The same problem with the chet and the tav.
chot. Ha'adama shalo sam chalkenu
Good,
ahem bego lenu
good.
kekol hamo nam. Va'anat nu.
No, look again. Look at the letter. The
Va'anachnu.
anachnu.
Va'anachnu.
Good.
Korim.
Good.
Korim.
Yeah.
Umish tachavim.
Good.
Umodim.
Good.
Lefnei melech malkei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu.
Good. Fabulous. Yeah, we're having a little problem. I don't know why they make letters that look so similar,
Yeah.
but
Judy,
they do.
and then
I didn't make the fonts. Yes, Arlene.
the third one, Lifane Melech Mala, that's a hey, right? Lachim.
Lachim.
Not
Yes.
it's not a k sound. It's a k.
Yes, without the dot. The dot is what makes the K sound.
Okay.
Without the dot, it's the ch sound. Kaf or kaf, yeah. Okay, anybody else on that one? Or we can continue, because as Arlene said a lot, or Joyce, I forget it. We often do the next part as well. So we're gonna continue down to finish that paragraph. Okay, Shehu noteh shamayim v'yosed aretz umoshav yikaro bashamayim mima'al ushchinat uzo begovrei. I can't say it. I can sing it. Romam hu Eloheinu ein od emet malkenu efes zulato kakatu batorato v'yadata hayom hashevota el levavecha ki Adonai hu ha-Elohim bashamayim mima'al v'al ha'aretz mitachat ein od. Okay, so anybody else want to volunteer after Baruch Hu? Who is the first word?
I can do.
Thank you, Faye.
Okay. Shehu note shamayim v'yotzer
Say,
haaretz.
wait a minute, just speaking of the letters that are very similar, V'yosed, it's a daled, not a resh.
Oh.
Shamayim v'yosed.
Okay, v'yosed.
Okay,
Okay, so
yeah.
thanks. V'yosed
read
haaretz.
it again.
Okay. Shehu note shamayim v'yosed aretz. Humoshav yekaru bashamayim mima'al umishchinat.
No, read it again.
Okay, ush.
Ooh, from
Okay.
the ooh.
Okay, ushchinat
Good.
uzo begave meromim. Hu Eloheinu ein od emet malkeinu. Efes zulato.
Good.
Kakatuv betorato veyadata.
Good.
Right? Hayom
Yes, exactly.
vaha shevota el
Good.
levavecha ki Adonai hu ha-Elohim bashamayim mima'al ve'al haaretz mitachat ein od.
Perfect. Fabulous. Anybody else? Don't be afraid because she read so well. Don't be afraid. I want you to be able to do it. And this is a no embarrassment zone. Anybody else? I'm not gonna force you. Okay. If nobody else wants to do it, we're good. And then the last part is at the end of the prayer, there should be a box or whatever. It starts with kakatu. Everybody have it? The end of the prayer, it's like a couple of lines with
Yeah.
kakatu, b'toratecha, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'amar v'haya Adonai lamelech al kol ha'aretz. Vayom hahu yehiye Adonai echad u'shmo echad. Okay, I have somebody that will volunteer for that. I know you can do it.
I'll do it.
Thank you, Eileen, and then Ann Lee.
Kakatu b'Torah techa Adonai imloch le'olam vayed. V'ne'emar v'hayu
What? V'ne'amar what?
v'ne'emar v'haya
Good.
Adonai lamelech al kol haaretz. Vayom hahu yehe Adonai echad ushmo echad.
Good. Yeah, is the only one that was a little off. Good, perfect, terrific. Somebody else, come on,
Which
you
word
guys.
did you say? Which word did you call it on?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I have another volunteer, Joyce, and then Ann Lee.
Hakatu b'Toratecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar v'hayei
No.
Adonai v'haya
Good.
Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz b'yom hahu Yeheya.
Yeah. Just read it. What's there? Yeah.
Yehia
Good.
Adonai Echad Ushmo Echad.
Perfect. Good. Okay, Ann Lee.
Hakatu b'Toratecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lamelech al kol haaretz. Vayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shmo echad.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Terrific. Anybody else? Susan, you popped in. Nice to see you. And Gail is there, even though we can't see her.
I had a meeting earlier. I'm sorry I was late.
As life happens, I understand that. Would you like to read any of the Aleinu while you're here?
Sure. I have to find, I'm in the Likrat
Which book do you have the page?
Shabbat. A lot of the other,
That's the only one I don't have is Likrat Shabbat.
know it, a lot of it by heart, so what I'm afraid
But it
of.
should be the Aleinu should be in every prayer book towards the end of the service, the Mariv service.
So,
I'll
no,
give you 1 minute to find it. I'll give you 1 minute to find the Aleinu. Does anybody else want to read? Either the end or the beginning of the Aleinu.
but if somebody else wants to,
That's why I'm trying to give you a minute to find it. If I can find it's short beat. You found it, Susan?
but
Good.
where
Okay.
does the last person leave off? If you just tell me.
You can start anywhere you want. You can do the beginning of the Aleinu to wherever you feel comfortable, or you could do the end, whatever you'd like.
I have a question though, on what
Sure.
on what word, I never know, I always look at people, do we bend?
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
word-
you're asking a question that you're not alone with that question. We already discussed that. But
Oh.
the point is, no. I don't say it because I don't say it to get you to whatever, but to know that you are not alone with this question. Different people do it at different places. Some people start bending at the anachnu. I do not. I don't know why. Because I didn't learn it that way. And the other, and some people on korim. You bend your knee and then you bow after on the next word.
And when do you come up? I always come up on lifnei. Do I
Some
do it
people
right?
come up on lifnei and some people come on nodim. So see, there's not an easy answer to this. You thought it was an easy question. It's not an easy. I come up on modim because I like the idea. Modim is acknowledging and I want to stand tall when I'm doing it. But some people do come up at lifnei.
Lifnei means in front of, right?
Before, yeah.
Or, as a little girl,
Not
I
bef-
always thought it was L for lift up and L for lifnei, and that's how I do it before.
You know, whatever works.
I like that.
It's not a bad thing. I think, that whatever works is a good thing.
So where should I
No
start? now that
question.
we have it? Where should I start?
Wherever you like. Start at the beginning of the Elenu if you'd like. Why don't you do that?
All right, okay. Aleinu lishabeach la Adon hakol la tes gadola la tet. Sorry, it's my Ashkenazic.
It's okay. You can't say lattes because
Okay,
they're
let's
both
say-
the same. You either have to say both as an S or both as a T.
Okay.
Usually in this class we do it as a T, but whatever you want.
La tes gadola liyotzer bereshit. Well, I always do it by ear, so reading it is a challenge.
But that's what, wait, Susan, 1 second. That's very important because it is a challenge. You heard me, you weren't here, but when I was reading part of it, I had a challenge because I just know it, I do it, especially when I sing. But
Yeah.
the point of learning how to read is we have to pay attention to what it looked like. So when it's somewhere else, we're gonna know how to read it. So
Thank you.
continue, please.
Shelo o osanu.
Asanu,
Asanu, sorry, I gotta move the light. Shelo asanu kigoye
good.
don't tell me. Datsot.
Okay, almost, but these are the two letters that we have that are very similar.
Ha'aratzot.
Ratzot, it's a resh, not a dalid.
Okay,
The dalid is more squared off.
and I'm wearing glasses while my other ones are getting fixed, so I'm
And
not-
also like in this font, the dalid like has a little end piece, like a beginning piece.
okay.
Okay,
Right.
all right.
I learned that it's like a door, like the Dalit is like a door.
Good, I
so
like
it's
it.
gotta-
I like it.
Ooh,
See,
nice.
I'm telling you, any good ideas I'm willing to take.
Velo shamanu.
Samanu, it's on the left side, sinister.
Velo shamanu. Kimish pechot.
Good.
Is that a dalit?
Yep.
Ha'adama. Oh yeah, land. Ha'adama.
Right.
Shelo sam chelkenu kachem.
Kahem. It's
Oh,
open.
okay.
It's open.
Thanks. Kahem vegoralenu kechal
Oh,
kechol. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Kechol hamona.
good. Nam. Good.
Nam. Boy, oh boy. Bad glasses and too much by ear for 70 years.
Well, but this is it's
is
not a
great.
bad thing. But there is a difference of looking and reading, no question about it.
Yeah, thanks.
No
Toda raba.
question. You are not alone. Okay, anybody else want? Yes, Joyce.
Question, on the last word, so it's kahol ha-monam. So under the hay, there's
Yes.
the line across and the two dots there.
Yes, yes.
So the shva with the line. So it's still hamona.
Yeah, how else would you pronounce it?
That's what I said, because I didn't know if those two dots had to do
Doesn't
something.
make a difference. It has to do with, it's all grammar. It's all, it probably has something to do with the fact that it's the first letter, because if you look down where you see Emet Malkeinu, it also has the 3 dots and the 2 dots. It has to do with it's really grammar vowel things. But with the reading, it doesn't make a difference for reading. Any other questions, comments? Somebody wants to read? No. All right, so we're gonna move to the next one. I think this is good because this is really that's what we really need is practice. we've gotten, I think everybody in the class has gotten to the part of knowing the letters and vowels. Some obviously we confuse them sometimes. Look, the resh and dal are very similar looking. And sometimes we forget with the shin and the sin and something, but we generally know the letters and vowels. So it's really practice and seeing the words and recognizing words, which also helps with the reading, I think. Okay. Now, my paper, I lost my paper, of course. Okay, now we're gonna do a Don Alum. On page 514 in Sim Shalom, 187 in Slim Shalom, and 211 in Liv Shalem. Should be not far from where you are in whatever book. Obviously, it's only a couple pages away from where we were. We're not, this one is really a singing one, but we're not going to sing it. We're going to read Adon Olam Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra, La'et Na'asa B'chetzo Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Ba'acharei Tichlot HaKol, Levado Yimloch Nora, V'hu Haya, V'hu Hoveh, V'hu Yehiyeh, B'tif Hara. Okay, gonna ask for a volunteer. Okay, Arlene and then Ellen.
Adon Olam Asher Malah Piterem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Nasa Beheth Sakol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra.
Fabulous.
Ray
Right, again, just read the first letter again. First word, it was hard for me to hear you.
Ray.
Achare. You see it? The achare.
Ahare. See. Ki lot hakol levado
Good.
yimloch nora. Vehu ha ya vehu haya vehu hove
Good.
vehu ye betif ara.
Perfect. Fabulous. Okay, I'm gonna read more, and then I think Joyce is going next. I don't remember. Eileen, I forgot. I was writing it down. I'm gonna read again, and then we can go back and read again. But I want to get through it. V'hu echad ve'ein sheni lehamshil lo lahachvira. V'li reshit v'li tachlit v'lo ha'oz v'ha misra. V'hu eli v'chai goali v'tzur chevli v'eit tzara. V'hu nisi umanos li manat kosi v'yom ekra. V'yado avkid ruchi v'eit ishan v'a'ira. V'im ruchi yavi ati Adonai li v'lo ira. Questions, comments, with volunteers? V'hu echad, we're up to.
What does Adonai lead? That's different than Adonai, right? Does that mean my God?
Where are you?
The last line, Adonai li.
And Adonai is the same thing as Adonai, it's God, but the Yud Hey Vav Hey is really God's name. Like when you hear people say they don't want to say God's name, it's really the Yud Hey Vav Hey. The other words are not God's name. God isn't God's name. Yud Hey Vav Hey is God's name. We don't know how to pronounce it. We pronounce it Hey Adonai.
Okay, on the last 4 words, it says Adonai li velo.
Below Iri. Yeah, Ira. Yeah.
What is the li? Does that mean my?
Oh, yeah. To me. Yes. To me. Lee is to me.
So my God.
Mhm. God is with me. It says
Velo
in English.
ira below Ira.
And I have no fear. Ira is awe or fear.
Okay.
In
thanks.
English, it's awe. Ira is awe or fear. There's a little bit of fear and awe.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's translated different ways.
תודה
Yeah.
רבה.
So, bavakasha. Okay, somebody want to read? We're on 1, 2, 3, 4. V'lo v'hu echad. Right. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, v'hu echad.
I can
Joyce,
do it.
please.
Oh.
Joyce, please. And then we'll get another volunteer.
V'hu echad v'ein sheni. Leham shilo
Good.
lehachbira.
Fabulous.
Bali reshit, bali tachlit, velo haoz, v'hamisra.
Good.
Let me go on.
It's up to you.
Vehu Eli, v'chai go ali, v'tzur chevli,
Good.
v'et Sarah.
Good.
Vehu nisi umanotli.
No, it's not
Oh.
squared off. It's umanos.
Umanosli. Umanosli.
Right, it's not a mem. You're confusing with the final mem.
Minot.
Minat.
Minat. Ko si.
Good.
V'yom ekra.
Good.
That's it.
Okay. Somebody else want to do the last two lines?
I'll do
Ann Lee, last two lines.
it. Biado afkid ruchi,
Good.
v'et shan, v'at, L-O-A-R-E-Ra. V'im ruchi, giviyati, Adonai li below Ira.
Great.
Yeah?
Good, good, good. Okay. Anybody else? Yes. Ann Lee, you have a question or you want to?
It wasn't until today that I realized what you were talking about, the vowel underneath the letter. And
Yes.
I learned as a young child the T. We used
Yes.
to call it, so it was always an ah sound. But you pointed out, and everyone has pointed out, that there's a longer version, that long stem coming down changes the ah to an O. I never
Yes.
knew that.
Yeah,
that
well, the
modern?
issue, the issue is it always was supposed to be the O sound. But what happens is we are not such Hebrew scholars, including myself for sure, to know when it was I forget the name of the vowel, to be honest, but the gadol or the katan, whether it was supposed to be the O sound or just the ah sound. We're not so smart. So thankfully the Rabbinical Assembly or United Synagogue or whoever put out these books, I don't remember, had the Rachmanis on us to make it look different. It is the same vowel that it was beforehand when it looked like a T, but they make it look different so you know how to pronounce it correctly. You always were supposed to pronounce it that way, but we weren't so smart to know that. Like I knew coal. I always knew coal because I knew that was what the word was. So we'd always say coal. But some of these other ones, I would say because I didn't know any better. So they make it easier for us by putting either the line and the dot or the line with the longer piece going underneath. Yes, Ellen.
Why not just put the dot over the next letter to make it O
Because
instead of,
that's a different vowel. This is a
I
vowel.
know.
You can't change the vowel. You have to know that it's what vowel it is. They're not going to change the vowel.
I have to listen to my rabbi if she does it and says oh. I have to listen carefully
You'll
because
pay attention and see. But yes,
I
it is
also
supposed to-
agree that I was never taught that either in my
There's
Hebrew
lots of things
school.
that we were not taught.
And, you know, so thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Yes, our pleasure. Yes,
So
Arlene.
I was never taught any of it because I just started all the Hebrew. So I wouldn't know what all you guys have gone through
Right,
with
but
it.
see, you
But-
realize that we all have the problem.
But it's amazing to me that we began the class with Hatikva. I don't know who just spoke about that. Was it, I don't remember. Anyway, we began the class with Hatikva and I did it wrong right from the get-go. And we're sort of ending the class with the same realization of that vowel with the line and the dot.
No, it's just that it's something to make it easier for us to read correctly. And you will hear many people that will read it incorrectly, even though it's there. They won't know. First of all, some people don't realize that difference. It's not that much different that if you don't look for it, you don't see it, especially if you don't have such good reading eyes. So if you don't see it, you might miss it. You might not know. And a lot of people don't know, but see, we know, we've learned. So we're one step ahead of some people.
The
Yes,
class-
Ellen, and then
class-
Susan.
Judi, so some shuls, I know when I was a kid, they always ended the service with a Don Olam. My shul changed, but it's not a Don Olam. But what other prayers do some shuls end it with besides a Don Olam?
For us, first of all, for our shul, any shul I've ever been to, on Saturday morning it's a Don Olam. Other services end differently. Some end with the Igdal. Friday night ends with the Igdal.
Igdal that I want practice with. That's the one. What page?
That's usually Friday night. They do
Right,
that.
that's
Igdal.
Friday
But we
night.
can do that. We can write it down as one of our prayers. That it's not a bad one.
I
To,
agree.
first of all,
I
as I
personally
said,
appreciate that. I
I
would
would-
personally love that. Yeah.
Me
I
too. I
love-
would like Yigdal also.
Yeah.
I wrote it down on my paper. Yes, Cindy.
I like to also learn the prayer. It is during the Friday night when you bless children.
Ah, sure.
Oh,
Good.
that's great. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because look, the point is just to learn how to read Hebrew, but we might as well learn prayers that we want to know to how to do. So yes, I put both of those things down. We can certainly do that. Yes, Susan.
Two things. One of the songs that we grew up ending services with, and my shul now is doing that from time to time to vary from Yigdal and Adon Olam, is Ein Eloheinu. Do some of you do that?
We always do Ein Eloheinu, but that's before. The Ein Eloheinu is,
Isn't it before Aleinu?
it's before Aleinu.
Oh, okay. Sometimes ours will say, oh, instead of Adon Olam.
No, we
Ein
always,
Eloheinu.
our shul always does Ein Eloheinu, but it's a little bit before. And actually I started my classes with Ein Eloheinu. That was the first prayer that I taught in not this class, but the previous one, the advanced beginners. That's the name of the book actually that we used. Yes, Susan.
I
You have
had
another
a
question?
comment going back to the long stem or the A or the O, and that is I grew up learning most of what I know by ear with my grandma and my great aunt and uncle, and they were Ashkenazic. I didn't know that, but now I know. And all of the one with the stem was all.
Oh, yes.
That was
but
my
the-
dad. It was
and
all
that's Ashkenazi Hebrew. As we
changed.
go back to some of our people were talking about that. That's Ashkenazi Hebrew. Also the S and the T.
right.
It's also
That's the way I know the
Ashkenazi Hebrew.
mistake.
Was that a shorter line though? Or the or now is a longer
No, it's
vertical
the same.
line?
It
The same
always,
thing?
it never was read as ah. Never read as ah.
It was
Always read as oh.
all, right?
It was always. But the issue is, I think from my experience, and I don't know about other people, when they brought in Hebrew teachers, Israel for some reason adopted the Sephardic Hebrew rather than Ashkenazic Hebrew. And when they started bringing in Israeli teachers to teach in the religious school, we started using the Sephardic Hebrew as opposed to the Ashkenazic Hebrew. And most of our shuls at this time, at least any place I've been, uses Ashkenazic Hebrew. Sephardic Hebrew as part of the prayer service. So that's where we are, because we want to be like Israel. So anyway, I don't want to,
Ah instead of aw,
what?
meaning
Yeah.
ah instead of aw. Is that what you're
It's
saying?
Sephardic Hebrew, not Ashkenazic Hebrew.
And meaning T instead of S, right? Like
Yes.
Shabbat instead of Shabbos.
Shabbos, yes, Shabbat, Shabbos,
I'm so
Shabbos.
glad that you brought that up. Thank you.
Shabbos, Shabbos.
That's the
Anyway,
Ashkenazic, right?
Ashkenazic Hebrew, yes,
Thanks.
okay. I don't want to hold you too long because I just realized it's 11:04. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank
We
you,
will
thank
meet
you.
again. We're gonna do some of the prayers we didn't do today, and I'm gonna add the other ones that people requested. And if there's
Next
any
week.
questions, yes,
Next week, right? Now we're back
yes,
to
next
weekly?
week. As far as I know, we will be continuing through. The class is supposed to continue through June 3rd, I think. If that's okay with people, if they
Oh,
want to,
God,
if you
yeah.
want to stay till
That'd
June
be
3rd,
great.
we'll be here till June 3rd, every Friday. Okay,
Thank you.
Right.
so.
Shabbat
Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Judy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Shabbat
you.
shalom.
Shabbat
Thank you.
shalom. Judy, can I ask a
Yes.
question? Do you,
Sure.
is there through our program affiliation, is there a Hebrew conversation class? Do you
There
know?
is not as far as Women's League. I'm sure there are, they exist in the world, but Women's League has not begun that. You can always ask. That's not, you know. People bring it up occasionally. I don't know if we have the teachers to teach it. My preference is for prayer book Hebrew, because I think that's what most people need. So that's what I put my energy into. But if you want it, you can ask. It doesn't. I learned from Women's League, actually. I think from Women's League, if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
Thank
Who do you
you.
ask? Can you tell us who to write an email to?
How about either you can do it to Debbie, you can do it to Julia Loeb, J Loeb. You got an email from her at the very beginning of the class. It's jloeb@wlcj.org. Those are generally the Women's League addresses, except I don't use mine. Is the first letter of your name, the last name, and wlcj.org.
Okay, thanks.